This is what we're going to make today. There is a free preset in the description below. If you want to make this, follow along with the tutorial. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to make a triangle subscribe button within a clear tube. I have made the same subscribe button on its own, but now I put it inside of a clear tube. We'll go ahead and get started. On the edit page, go up into the media pool, right click, go to new fusion composition. I am on a 30 frame per second timeline. You can name it if you'd like, we don't have to, but we do need to extend the duration to 12 seconds. And then bring it down the timeline. Double check it, make sure it's 12 seconds. And let's go to Fusion. Start out with a background node. Connect the media out. Make sure that background node's selected. In the inspector, turn the alpha all the way down. Now we know it's transparent. Click here a few times, make sure nothing's selected. 3D shape, merge, camera, spotlight, and render. Put the render up in the viewer 2, and the merge in viewer 1. Select your 3D shape node. I wrote down these values to make it a little bit quicker. For those of you that don't know me, I have to use this on-screen keyboard due to health reasons. Select your shape node again. In the inspector under shape, change it to cylinder. And we want to go 1.5 by all the way up 10. Let's go to the render node. Enable lighting and shadows. Go to the camera node. In the inspector, under translation, Z-axis. Can I merge back in here so we can see what we're doing? I want to pull that camera back so we can see that cylinder. Okay, go back to the shape node. We're going to rotate that tube. Under transform, rotation, Z-axis. Take it to 90. Back to the camera node. take it out to right about there for now. Now select the spotlight node. I missed one thing. On the camera node, go back and select use target. On the spotlight, in the inspector under transform, select use target. Under translation, Z-axis. Look at my viewer 1, you'll see the camera moving back, and viewer 2, you'll see the light start to show. We'll get it back so it's all visible. I'm going to go to controls and open the cone a little bit. Bring down a background node. Right click on the 3D shape node. Copy. Then paste instance by right clicking. Merge the two together, it'll make a merge. Now let's connect our background into the shape node. We want to make go to the instance, go to radius, right click, and de-instance. Now we'll change that 1.5 to 1.4. Now you'll see the other cylinder turned red. We have one inside the other. Grab a rectangle off the toolbar. Merge it into the background node. Make sure the rectangle is selected. In the inspector, select invert. Take the width all the way to the right. Basically, all we're doing is masking that out. I just disconnected the instance. Now the length on the instance, which is a clear tube, is 7.24. So right click on the height, de-instance, and change the height value to 7.24. Let's go back to the rectangle. Under height, you want to take that to where it almost touches the red and the white. If you don't know, if you hold Alt down, the Alt key, and then change your values, it'll move much slower, more fine-tuned. Okay. Click away right here. Shift spacebar and type in fall off. Connect that to the instance. In the inspector, turn the opacity all the way down. Go all the way down to fall off and adjust how much transparent you want that to be. I kind of like the default setting. Let's name a couple of these nodes. Let's name the first shape node red tube. Let's name the instance clear tube. Now click away right here, make sure no nodes are selected. Grab another shape node. Merge it into the first merge. Select it in the inspector. Go to cylinder again. Under base subdivisions. Take that down to 3. Under transform, rotation, z-axis, we'll rotate that 90. Under controls, in the inspector, on the triangle tube radius, 1.25 by 0.7. So the radius, make 1.25. And the height, 0.7. I think that was 1.7. For whatever reason, I had written that down mistakenly, incorrect. Let's go to 6.8. That looks good. We'll name that triangle tube. And let's grab a background node. Actually, instead of that, just select the triangle tube. Go in the inspector, under materials, and make it red. You can do it either way. I usually use a background, but we can do it this way too. No, I'm mistaken. We do have to use the background. Sorry about that. So change back to the triangle tube. Go back in and make that white. We need this so we can apply the text. With that note selected, the background, make it red. Turn your viewer 1 into 3D like I have it so you can see the end. And then select the camera node. Make sure you have use target selected. Under translation, the y-axis. We'll rotate that up. We'll raise the camera. You want to line that line coming from the camera up with this point. There's other ways you can do it without moving the camera, but it changes all your values and it makes it difficult to keyframe and animate. This is just a lot easier this way. Okay. We'll go ahead and keyframe this. We'll animate that triangle too. Nope, I want to add one more thing before we do it. Do that. Click away right up here. Another shape node. We're going to make the pivot rod here 0.2 by 0.7. Go to the inspector with that shape node selected. Under shape, go down to cylinder again. Let's go to controls. Radius is 0.2. And the height, 0.7. That is a pivot rod right in here. You can make it any color you'd like. Just go to materials. We do have to rotate that though. Okay, and the left viewer. Now we can see it. It's inside that triangle tube. So in the inspector, after selecting the shape node, actually let's name that right now. We'll call it pivot rod. Okay, now let's go to the inspector under translation. I'm sorry, under rotation, Z-axis. Rotate that to 90. Okay, for some reason that same value is not working here. For whatever reason, sometimes they don't always match up with what I do the first time. I know for sure this one was actually 7. Yeah, either I made a mistake and wrote 0.7 instead of 7. But that is not long enough in this one. So just extend it to where you can see that pivot point right in here. And whatever color you want to make it, you can do it right here. Just making mine black. Back to the triangle node. I am on a 30 frame per second timeline. I'm going to move ahead and start it at 1 second. So I'm at frame 30. You have to adjust yours accordingly, whatever frame rate you're at. In the inspector under transform, under rotation, y-axis, set a keyframe. We need to get this view again to do this. I have to use the drop-down menu to move things around. You guys don't have to do that probably if you have a middle mouse wheel. One thing I do want to do is let's go back to the red tube. Under controls, take the base subdivisions all the way to the right. That will smooth out our cylinder. And it's still connected. Everything in green will affect both. I should have explained what an instance is. It's just a carbon copy of the node you took it off of. And anything in green, if you change that value, it'll change it in both. That's why we de-instanced a couple values, so we could change one without changing the other. I am trying to rush through here and make this shorter, so I did not explain that. Okay, I'm on frame 30. That's 1 second for me. We're ready to set a keyframe under rotation, y-axis. We're going to move ahead 2 seconds, which would be 90 for me. You can rotate it the other way if you'd like, but I'm going to rotate mine this direction. Mine's coming out at -122. That's pretty consistent when I made it the first time. Now I want to move ahead 2 more seconds. That takes me to 150, frame 150. Then we'll rotate this to minus 244. And again, in the left viewer, we have that line you can go by. Match it up with that corner. I'm going to rotate mine back a little. It doesn't have to be right on 244. I basically want the face of that triangle facing that camera. Okay, now I want to move ahead to 210. And back in the inspector, same thing, under rotation, y-axis. And I am at 360, it looks like. Now we'll keep on keyframing until we get to the end. I got to move to frame 270. I know we already made one rotation, but I got plans here, so follow along. I should mention, if you want to fine tune it, hold the Alt key down and then you can rotate them, actually not the dial, but the fraction. It's much slower. Mine ended up at minus 480. But like I said, that's not all that technical. You just want the face facing the camera. We're going to readjust the light here in a moment too. Now I want to move to frame 330. And then back in the inspector, under rotation, y-axis again, and rotate it again. And it should be minus 600, or if you went the other way, it would be 600. Okay, it's all keyframed. Put your playhead on the first keyframe. Okay, we're going to adjust the light. Select the spotlight node in the inspector under transform. Under translation, X value, move it to the right. You can also use these little handles if you don't know. I find these to be very intuitive. We want to get about the same angle or close as the camera. I'm going to go something like that. Now select your Merge 3D one that the camera and the light is connected to. Shift spacebar and type in ambient light. Now we can use this for a little extra lighting so the scene isn't so dark. That's your overall light throughout the whole area. And with that node selected, under transform, translation, y-axis, let's just move that light up and out of the way. It can be anywhere. Okay, now we'll start putting some text on here. Select the red tube. I'm sorry, the triangle tube. Make sure you're on your first keyframe, playhead. You can verify that by looking in the inspector and make sure your keyframe is red. Bring a text plus node down. Merge it into the background. Put your text in. I put subscribe. And we'll go to Arial. And I'm going to select regular. Now go into layout. Now we have to find our text by rotating either the X or Y value of the center. And I'm moving the X value in the center to the right. Mine's coming up from the bottom. We go to one viewer now. Go down to rotation, Z-axis, and you can turn it to -90. We'll size our text. If I'm not mistaken, 0.15 was a good number. Select the triangle node again and advance your playhead to the next keyframe. Again, look over the inspector. Make sure your keyframe is red. Right click on the text node. Copy. Click away. And paste. Now we'll carry everything over from one text to another. We'll have the same font and the same size. All I have to do is change the text. Merge that one into merge one. Select the text node. Go up and change your text. I'm going to type in like. Now go to layout. Double click on the center. It'll reset that. Now we'll do the same thing. Find our text. This time I was under the X value. Again under center. Now I'll go back to the triangle tube node. Go to the next keyframe. Double check in the inspector. Make sure your keyframe is red. Right click on the text node, copy. Click away. Right click and paste. Merge it over to merge 2. Select the text node. Go up and change your text. I'm going to write in share. Now go to the layout. Again, double click the center. And share came right up to mine. If you need to fine tune it, use the X or Y value. Okay, now comes the tricky part. We're going to have this changing text as it rotates. Back to the triangle node. So if we go to, it's already made one rotation. So we're going to go back one keyframe. Got to remember we want to look for subscribe. Go back to that one keyframe, the next one back. Should be the first text node. And it does say subscribe. Go up in the text box, you'll see a little keyframe on the right. Select that. Take the playhead all the way to frame 0. Keyframe it again. And right next to the keyframe, there's a little arrow. You can hit that, and it'll bring you back to the first keyframe. And then change the text. I'm going to put in hit the bell. Or hit bell. Hit the bell might not fit. And now if you advance your timeline, you'll see hit bell is there. Go back to the triangle tube, or triangle, tube node. Go to the next keyframe, the fourth one. Be sure your keyframe is red in the inspector. We got to look at the next word coming up, which is like. We have to remember that, take note. Go back to that keyframe, make sure it's red over there. And it should be the second text, which is text 1. First one has got no number to it. So it'll be your second text you put up there. Select that. If it says like in there, keyframe it. Go all the way to the frame 0. Keyframe it again, and then hit the little arrow next to it. And then change your text. I'm going to put in DaVinci. So now if we advance, it should say DaVinci. Okay, now we'll go back to the triangle tube node. Select it, and then advance to the fifth frame. Fifth keyframe. We want to look and see what the next word is coming up. And it's share. We have to take note of that. Go back to that keyframe. Make sure you're on it. Should be the third text node. And it is. Set a keyframe. Back to frame 0. Set another keyframe and hit the little arrow again. And change the text. I'm going to put resolve. And now it says resolve. Let's go up to the edit page and see how it looks. Guess we better tie in our 3D into the 2D first. Okay, let's tie in the 3D render into the 2D. Drag your media out into the viewer. And let's go to the edit page and see how it looks. Now you can adjust your lighting however you'd like. Your ambient light, your spotlight. Mine's all the way up. My spotlight. Ambient light was on 2. Put a solid color generator under it. Show you it is transparent. And in the template, the free template I'm giving you in the description below, once you pull it out on a timeline, you make it 12 seconds. You can go right up here in the inspector and adjust the size accordingly. And move it where you want. Okay, we're going to go back to Fusion and change the render because this render setting is very slow. Select the render node. Go up here to render type. Hardware render. Come down here to transparency. Should say Z buffer. Change that to quick sort. Now you'll see if you have a couple nodes corrupted. Go over here and deselect shadows. It just will not render out shadows in this setting. But now the rendering time is 3 times faster, as you can see. Okay, we know it all works. Now we're going to come back to Fusion. Open a spline. Up in the right corner, you might want to close this. Give you some more room. Make sure all of them are selected. Go over here to zoom to fit. You can either select this box, select all, or you can highlight them all. I'm selecting all. hit F as in Frank on the keyboard. That'll flatten them all. And then if you hit T as in Tom, this little window will pop up. The ease in and ease out should be at 33. Let's rotate them both to 60. And hit the lock. Go back to the edit page. Now it should stop when it rotates momentarily. Let the cache render out. Okay, I'm going to show you how to save it as a preset now. We'll go back to Fusion. Highlight them all, even the media out. Right click and group. Now right click on the group. Down here to settings to save as. I'm going to save mine by desktop, give it a name. I'm going to call mine triangle cylinder sub button. You can save it anywhere in any folder that you know you can go find it. Okay, now to get your folder to show you how to put it in there in case you don't know. Make sure effects is selected. Go to template. Edit. Titles. Pick a folder. This is the one I use. Right click and then hit show folder. Here is what we just made. Move it up here for a minute. I'm going to copy and paste it and put it in there. That way it'll stay on my desktop. Okay, let's go to edit page and see if it works. This is it. Remember, it's made to be on a minimum of 12 seconds. I can show you at the end here how to save this as a transparent video so you don't have to stretch this out every time. You can just drop it on your timeline and be done with it. Okay, I'm going to select the in and out. So go to the beginning of it and then hit I. Go to the end and hit O. Now it'll only record this portion. So go down to delivery. to save this and to make it transparent, I'll save this to my desktop too so I can find it. I have to name it something different because it's going on the desktop. You can do it however you want to do it, but I don't want to overwrite it, so I'm just going to make it a little bit different for the sake of the tutorial. Okay. Go down to, on Format, go to QuickTime. Codec, GoPro Cineform. Type, go to 16-bit. Now you'll see an export alpha down here. Select it. There is no audio, so select that. And then deselect it over to check mark. Back to video. Put it in the render queue and render it out. Right here. Brought it straight into my media pool. Now we'll bring it down. Now you'll see it's automatically 12 seconds. And it is transparent. And you can adjust the size right here. Well, there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget the free preset in the description below.